Yo, what is up, everybody? Lil Bunkai here, and sorry for not uploading any recent videos, but I have been doing a lot of research on not just God of War, Devil May Cry, which I'm actually doing a Devil May Cry video, and I'm also doing a bit of research on other characters as well. Yeah, it's gonna be fun, and I'm also doing some versus battles, right? So I'm gonna be, it's gonna be not as non-active as it was for these past few months. And also had to redo this video multiple times as it would just like delete my files for some reason. I was also pretty lazy with my work, so my bad, my fault, guys. Nonetheless, we're back with this new PowerScaling video. I'm here to discuss where does Dante from the Devil May Cry series scale in the tiering list, or not tiering list, tiering system, right? And he has very interesting things in his run, but I'll be talking about him later. For now, I'm gonna be just announcing something. I'm gonna redo some of my Kratos videos, right? And God of War videos, since it's been a long time. It's been like a year, and a lot of it's like I've been like a lot. Those videos are really like pretty not that great. I'm just gonna say it right now. They weren't that great back then. It was whenever I was power scaling from back then, whenever I first started power scaling and such. So cut me some slack. But yeah, well, I'm also doing some research on Spawn. I'm gonna do a versus battle. After this maybe. If not that, I'm just gonna do like a reaction. I'm also gonna be next video is gonna be Dante's hacks, since I cannot fit everything into this one video. It's gonna be taking forever. But yeah, my next video is gonna be about purely Dante's hacks and abilities, also Arsenal, since I'm kind of stacking them all into one. Yeah. So I'll not to mention I have also like got a new PC, so I'm gonna be editing videos on there instead of my phone. So the video is gonna be that I'm gonna be uploading are gonna be a lot better. So just right after this video. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy it, and don't forget to join my Discord. And nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoy this video. So to start off with the scaling of the video, we're going to be talking about what's canon and non-canon in the series, and talk about the different terms between primary and secondary canon, and the difference between those two. So the author likes to separate those two canons into different parts of the story and such. They are not the same thing, and primary canon is basically confirmed parts of the story that are released in the main material of the canon. Now, secondary canon is basically further material and that are released and further confirmed, and that is not included in the primary canon. For example, we have Naruto, which we have data books, mangas, anime, etc. Now, the anime and manga being more so the primary canon compared to the novels and data books in the series. Now, the data books and novels are confirmed to be canon, though since they're not released in the main material part or source of the series, it's more so considered secondary canon. But making sure there's no contradictions between the secondary canon or the primary canon. With the Devil May Cry series, we have confirmation that the anime and novels are canon to the actual series. So let's go ahead and get to the scale. So moving on to AP, we're going to go off of low-end to high-end feats during the games. Now, a feat he has performed was defeating Cerberus. Cerberus actually makes a blast that could cover and govern a whole city block, right? And seemingly one-shotting Reapers and Demons casually. Then in DMC1, defeated Griffin, who was capable of producing massive thunderstorms in his presence to strike at Dante. Then later on defeats Beowulf and equips his weapon. Beowulf's weapon description says it's able to cause small supernova explosions. Supernovas, within themselves, are powerful luminous stellar explosions. These transient astronomical events occurs during the last evolution stages of a star, or a white runaway dwarf star. This is impressive because supernovas within themselves can actually destroy their entire solar system if big enough. Then in DMC1, we encounter Mundus. Later then, Dante actually fights Mundus in DMC1 with Sparta Devil Trigger. Mundus in that same game was able to create a whole universe level pocket dimension. This was later backed up and confirmed by Kamiya himself. Kamiya states that he actually creates a universe, and even in the guide, Mundus is represented as a universe, according to his name. This would also apply for other demons, as their name actually represents their powers and abilities and what they could actually do. Then in DMC2, we encounter demonic rulers such as Argosax, which is actually as strong, rivaling Mundus' power and strength. Though, even then, it still doesn't compare to Dante's AP or strength. Even speed, honestly. And what's even crazier is Argosax was merging both the human world and demon world with his presence alone. And this would include the dimensions in the human world, which would be like multiple of them. And not to mention, he was causing numerous paradoxes within the demon world on his own. This alone is easily able to qualify for universal to low multiversal. And the scaling doesn't end there, as we actually have Nightmare, who's actually able to destroy the entire demon world on its own. Then, in the DMC anime, he faces a being named Abigail, who actually also rivals the power of Mundus. But this was even before DMC2, which would mean he would have at least the same amount of power as Mundus, at least in his prime. Oh, and Abigail does have this portal creation feat, though it's really iffy to say the least, because it's a portal and such, and it also uncovers a large section of the planet, but it's there, but not the most impressive. It's also crazy how Dante's power increases over the time, being, as in DMC3, he would be like Dwarf Star, it's a Solar, so maybe Uni, and then in DMC1, he would need to have the power of Sparta to defeat Mundus, but then in DMC anime, he actually proves himself to be superior to this kind of power. And then in DMC2, he's also vastly superior to that as well. And the scaling doesn't end there, as we have the DMC2 novel, which he goes into this alternate universe, parallel universe, and meets this alternate version of Mundus. As I guess the DMC community describes him as Void Mundus, as he's in literal void in the novel itself. Then that same alternate version of Mundus is actually stated to be superior to the DMC1 Mundus we face in DMC1. And not to mention, we do face off Chen, or Dante faces off Chen in the novel. And Chen actually equips the Beast Heads, who can see beyond past, present, and future. And again, Dante faces off these beings casually, and he even faces off the Savior and even Urizen, who surpasses all such demon kings from the past, as he completely murks Dante in the beginning of the game. And we actually see Dante getting a power boost from Sin Devil Trigger and actually shits on Urizen. Not to mention the massive amp Urizen gets from the Clyphon's fruit. And Dante seemingly still washes Urizen, as this boost that Dante has received from Sin Devil Trigger was far superior to any form he got or granted from DT ever. And not to mention, Devil Trigger actually increases by 2 times as stated in the guide, and even increases in every single game, most likely by 2 times or greater. And it's crazy to think how Dante came this far and is actually superior to demons who are able to merge complete universes and realms, which actually have confirmed space-times as stated by the Gigapete's description. It moves through the human and demon world, also moving through space-time itself. Well, even these beings surpass Pluto himself, which actually severed both the human and demon world itself, which are, of course, entire universes. Even arguably infinite in size, as there's actually infinite seas and it's in endless darkness. With limitless or infinite power, which Mundus keeps hold the nexus of power of the underworld. And what's even more hilarious is Dante has long forgotten about these beings, such as Argosax and other demon kings. Back in DMC3, it was confirmed that DMC3 Virgil, at the end of DMC3, could have actually defeated Mundus if it wasn't fatigued enough or in full capability. Though, it is also worth mentioning that Mundus in that state would have been still sealed and weakened as well. Not to mention wounded, as he just broken the seal. But it's still worth noting that anyways. Now moving on to speed, finally. We're going to be talking about Dante's speed varieties throughout the series, as his speed honestly varies throughout the series and novels. And towards the end, I'm actually going to be going over some misconceptions and different metas that people use, and I'm going to try to explain why those certain metas don't really work in DMC3, or DMC. So Dante has a few impressive feats in his run, such as blocking gunfire and even traveling at massively hypersonic speeds, as displayed in DMC3. I'm not going to go into detail in the calc itself, I'll leave it down in the description. Even dodging lightning-based attacks from other demons, which should clock up to relativistic speeds. And even in that same game, he's fast enough to dodge the Brook's lasers, which should at least be relativistic plus speeds to light speed. Even being described as actual lasers moving in a straightforward line. And Dante in DMC3 is casually able to dodge these attacks quite casually. But if you still don't accept Dante being FTL in DMC3, there's also him casually beating Beowulf and even reacting to his light speed attacks. Not to mention he literally equips his own devil arm, proving he's at least FTL speeds in DMC3. Then moving on from DMC3, we have DMC1 where he reacts to Mundus' particle beam with Sparta Devil Trigger, which lowball was calced at relativistic plus speeds. Then in that same game, Mundus creates an entire universe full of sea of stars in its background, which there's different translations for. I'll bring one up right here in the screen. And that same feat was calced at quadrillions of times of speed of light. Then in another calc, Dante and Mundus make an entire leap in space, which was also calced at MFTL speeds. Then, in 2's novel, we have Dante literally fighting the literal void, which is described as Void Mundus. Fighting in the literal void would mean you're fighting in zero time, essentially. And in that same novel, we have him defeating Chen, in fact blitzing him, who could see beyond the past, present, and future. It's also stated that Mundus is the ruler of timeless eternity, which it honestly can be interpreted in many different ways. It's just people like to use that and to further prove inaccessible, even beyond that, which beyond inaccessible, with that statement alone, would be ridiculous in my eyes at least. Whatever. Even both in DMC2 novel and DMC4 novel, it's described as Dante moving at faster than lightning speeds, which is obviously lowball for his actual scaling, but yeah, just like to point that out. Then he obviously fights beings beyond void Mundus and such, which would scale above inaccessible speeds. There's even the argument that Nightmare would have to have infinite speed, as it is stated in V's Visions of V that he could lay waste to the demon world, which is infinite in size. And for this to logically happen, he would either have to traverse to the entire demon world, which is infinite, or his laser beam attacks, or attacks in general, would have to span across an infinite distance. And knowing Nightmare actually shoots laser beams or light attacks, those light attacks would have to traverse the entire demon world, which is, of course, again, infinite in size. And he can also defeat demons such as the Fury, which can actually move through space-time itself or make space-time jumps. Even the Fury itself is described as having divine speed, which wouldn't really be warping, by the way, if anyone thinks he's teleporting. Though I do see why people might think he actually teleports instead. So instead of actually moving through space-time itself with raw speed alone, which I think he actually does move through raw speed, but people might actually interpret that as a measurable speed, which I will get into that in a little bit actually, yeah. And what's even more hilarious is that Dante's double trigger increases his speed, AP, etc. His overall stats, his physical stats, and magic or hacks. And it's also described in DMC 2 guide that his speed multiplies by 10-fold. And it's even stated that the double trigger multiplier actually changes throughout the games, as stated by one of the devs here.
You have to answer.
How about, do you know what the multiplier is in the double trigger? Like how much?
I don't know this, and it would change. It would change based on the different stuff.
Yeah.
Alright, so now all that's out the way, I'm going to be covering some misconceptions with DMC scaling. Now, I do not go with the immeasurable speed argument simply because the Fury is jumping through space-time itself, or honestly small bursts of space-time, and again, people actually like to think it's teleporting by warping, though again, I think it could honestly just be speed, but jumping through space-time isn't the same as jumping or moving through non-linear time, and space-time and space and time aren't the same exact thing. Space-time could possibly scale whatever meta you use to space and time, but it really doesn't really equate to the same. It's not the same definition as what I'm trying to say. Also, there's the argument that, again, like I showed, void Mundus being independent of the flow of time. People depict that as immeasurable speed, though it could be interpreted many different ways. And again, with the Fury statement, it's not really very blatant to say it's like moving through time itself. Also, moving through space-time, again, isn't exactly measurable speed. Honestly, multiple characters who actually go through space-time itself use either teleportation or speed to go through space-time itself with light speed. And an example of this I actually have is Spawn from his classic era. And this version of Spawn was mainly just a bullet timer. There's also arguments for FTL, but not immeasurable speed. Sorry, but Spawn here actually teleports at light speed distance, and also it is stated to make a burst through space itself, which he just teleports. Honestly, it's just teleportation at light speeds, I guess, whatever. But again, it could honestly just be like the Fury doesn't even move through time itself. It's not time traveling or anything. So, or moving through another space, but it's very vague to say it's moving through light speed or measurable speed from that statement alone. I think also another thing, it's not really consistent within the series, as even an accessible speed isn't the most consistent, as mainly the Void Mundus is the main inaccessible feat we have for DMC. So the most consistent within the series is mainly MFTL plus. So it's not very wise or like anywhere consistent to measurable speed. So that's another reason why I don't really accept the meta. Now moving on to the next category, I am going to move on to like durability, though I'm not going to take my time on it. Honestly, he just should scale to his raw physical strength and AP, as we see him like taking on other universal to low multiversal beings, and such as Mundus, Void Mundus, Argosex, Urizen, etc. Multiple demons, in fact. Though he also gets pierced by multiple demons, which is very interesting, as his regeneration actually helps him with fights a lot. He's able to like tank, I guess, what you call ignore attacks that ignore durability itself. And to make things clear, I'm not saying regen is durability itself, which is obviously not. Though I guess to say, I mean, it's just very impressive how he's able to withstand these multiple attacks and blood attacks from multiple demons, universal beings, and low multiversal beings. Almost seem to not harm him as much. And honestly, he usually toys with his own enemies most of the time. Well, there you have it, guys. That was my Dante power scaling video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took a very long time to make this video. Well, not really, but it's kind of, I've been taking a break from YouTube. I was just very lazy with my work. But anyways, it's also been deleting my files randomly. Yeah, it's been a lot of dumb shit been happening. I'm not lying. I swear. But yeah, I will admit that I was really lazy though. But yeah, I'll have a new PC now, so I'll probably try to edit my videos a lot better. But yeah, the next video is gonna be Dante's hacks and Arsenal, right? So, and I'm also gonna be doing classic spawn afterwards. So, and maybe I've been thinking about doing a Kratos versus Spawn debunk video on like someone's channel. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please join my Discord. Link's gonna be down in the description. Yeah, and we can have a few conversations there, VC, yeah, etc., whatever you guys want. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and peace out.